Well, I totally get that we're from very different parts of the world, and I don't expect everybody here to fully understand my kind of Pacific Northwest thing. Your whole Boston vibe can be very abrasive.
Okay.
That's
Desi, this isn't about where you're from.
okay.
Okay? This isn't about geography. This is about that distressed shirt you're wearing. This is about the fact you have eyeliner on your face right now. This is about the fact that your musical sensibility is insufferable. Don't ever think that you get on stage anywhere where a vast majority of the crowd doesn't think douche.
Hey everybody, welcome to Boys Watching Girls. We are just two boys watching HBO's Girls. We are your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And we've come up to the last episode of Season 4 today. We got a banger of an episode, but before we get to that, we got some housekeeping to do at the top here. We just started an Instagram page for the podcast. It is just at Boys Watching Girls Podcast, right?
Yeah,
That's
we're making the leap into the 21st century.
We're taking over the social media world, everybody.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Follow the show on Instagram. We post funny memes and stuff that have to do with girls, and yeah, follow that. And also, it's been a while since we did this, so I feel like we're in the right to do it. If you could please, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review, 5-star rating. If you got time to write a review, that'd be awesome.
But if you like are really busy and you really don't like the show that much, you don't really have to waste your time with a 2-star or 3-star review. You know, like
yeah, you can keep that to yourself if you really want.
Yeah, and your time's more valuable than that.
Yeah, so yeah, again, if you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, please give it a positive review. That helps with making the podcast go a bit bigger than it already is. And it's already pretty big. We're blowing up in Canada. We're blowing up in England. Got a lot of listeners in Indiana, guys, still. So thank you for listening in Indiana. Finally got some people in Maryland listening, which is where we're both from. I don't know how we missed that market.
Yeah.
And Virginia too. So thanks for listening, everybody. Really appreciate it. Would appreciate it even more if you could leave that 5-star review for Apple Podcasts. But with that out of the way, let's dive into this episode. It is Season 4, Episode 10. It is Episode 42 overall. It is titled Home Birth. Was directed by Lena Dunham, written by Jenny Connor, Lena Dunham, and Judd Apatow. The original air date is March 22nd, 2015, to a viewing audience of 687,000 people, 0.687 million. And Vance, there's a lot of shit going on in this episode.
It's a finale. It's a finale, you know. In finales, you got to have a wedding or a birth. That's and they do a good job of subverting the trope of it a bit, you know.
Or a death.
Or what?
Or a death in the finale.
Or a death, yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be our next. Have we had a death finale yet? I don't think so.
We had a mid-season death with Flo.
Yeah. And David, her producer, her book editor, passed away.
Yeah, that guy died.
But yeah, we've had a wedding at the end of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
We got a birth at the end of this 4th season. So yeah, 5th season death maybe?
Yeah, and I would like to say I was right in my prediction of it being about Caroline, which was pretty heavily telegraphed.
Yeah.
But I'm still taking that W, baby.
There's a couple predictions that came right. Like I predicted something with Jessa a while back that came true.
Yeah, you did.
You predicted something with Fran a while back that came true. And there's predictions all around.
So, shall we dive into this sumbitch? Yeah. Should we do it by character? Who do you think is the most... I don't know. Can we do it by character? Who knows?
Yeah, we can do characters. Let's just, Who
would you like to start with?
Would you like to do Shoshanna or Marnie first?
I think Shoshanna.
Okay. Let's do it.
Start off on a good foot.
Okay.
So Shoshanna, she is reinvigorated in her job search now after leading Ray's campaign and helping him secure the nomination for city council, whatever. She feels really reinvigorated and she's ready to attack the town, ready to get a job, and she's feeling good about herself. So we see her at an interview at what looks like kind of a like girly, I'm not sure exactly what it is, like maybe a cosmetics company or a women's magazine.
Yeah, it's called Abigail, and it's like a very modern white, like modern decorated place with the neon pink name behind the desk, and just a lot of like pops of color throughout the white starkness of the room.
I'm gonna be honest, it looks like a dope place to work just based on that one office.
I feel like places like that just have that look though, and like once you get in, that look is it looks cool to go in and work there, but who knows what
I think like, that we've talked about this before with like startups and how it looks cool, and then it's like, well, we got this video game cabinet, and it's like, don't ever fucking play that video game.
Yeah, it looks like every like startup, Silicon Valley startup. I'm sure the Soup Mogul's place looks somewhat like that. They got a ping pong table in the middle of the place.
Yeah, WeWork. They have fucking beer on tap.
Yep.
So she's interviewing with A.D. Bryant, the Saturday Night Live stalwart. That's how you pronounce that, right?
I think so.
I'm having a fucking malfunction, man.
And those ratings are going down now.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna get those 2-star reviews.
They're like,
no doubt.
It's like when you put a tip on the bar for a bartender, and you just like have the stack, and you're like, that was late, and you have taken it away.
Yeah.
Like, that's that old school way of tipping, and it's just like you start this big. You start with 5 stars.
Yeah,
right? Mumbled over stalwart,
and then we'll go down from there.
Yeah.
So she's interviewing with A.D. Bryant, and A.D. Bryant is basically telling her about the job. Shoshanna is killing it. She seems to like finally have a good head on her shoulder and a healthy way of attacking these job interviews, and she's ready to get this job. And it seems like the dream job for her. A.D. Bryant's laying it out for her. She's like, you're doing marketing stuff. You're going to be working with our marketing department. And Shoshanna's like, this sounds perfect. And then A.D. Bryant drops the hammer that she will be working as the company's liaison to the Japanese market. And if she wants to take the job, she will need to relocate to Tokyo. And Shoshanna's kind of like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, I mean, Tokyo is really cool. And there's some like funny banter going on between them.
It feels improvised a lot there.
Absolutely.
It was like the first time, it was one of the first times it felt improvised in this show for me.
Yeah.
I've seen,
Yeah, and, A.D. Bryant's throwing in some jokes about, like, Japan's really cool. Everybody that goes over there is really awesome. They say it's very nice. She says it in Japanese. Mm-hmm. And then Shoshanna's like, have you ever been? And A.D. Bryant's like, well, no, I've never been, but I've FaceTimed with people that are there, and it looks cool. And I say hi, and they say hi, and yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot to think about. But I had a feeling that Shoshanna, well, at first when it started and you just start hearing the voiceover of the interview, I was like, oh, maybe she's going to try to do more campaign stuff. But
same.
Doing the campaign stuff actually gave her something on her resume of like note,
Yeah, because previously she just had like summer camp counselor and shit like that.
And college graduate, which is hard. Like, it's hard to have experience without having experience,
Exactly. Yeah. Like all those entry-level jobs require you to have like 5 years of experience. Like, how the fuck? How am I going to do that? Like, there's no way. So Shoshanna's like, can I take some time to think about this? Because that's a big old change. Like, she didn't know that was part of the job, I guess. Mm-hmm. So she needs some time to think about it. A.D. Bryant's like, you got to let me know by Wednesday. We don't know what day of the week it is, but seems like that's not that far from that time.
Yeah, it's within the week, so it's not like you have a lot of time to figure it out.
And that's a big ask.
I don't think she has to leave on Wednesday, but I think she has to let them know that she's down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then Shoshanna's like, oh, I got a lot to think about. So the next time we see her, she's on a date with the soup guy. I forget his name. Do you remember his name? Scott. That's what it is. Scott.
Yeah. I just write down Soup Mogul every time I see him.
She's on a date with the soup guy, and he's talking about, I forget what he's talking about. Something.
He says, I love having lunch with you because I always get so inspired and I go back to work and I'm so creative or whatever.
Yeah.
Some nonsense.
Something like that. And then Shoshanna's like, hey, I got something to tell you. And he's like, what's that? She's like, so I got a job. And he's like, congratulations. That's awesome. That's amazing. And she's like, but once I take this job, I have to move to Tokyo. And it'll be cool if I'm your Japanese booty call, if you ever come to Japanese or whatever, I understand what's going on, but this is a job that I got. And Scott's immediately like, don't take that job. Do not take that job. Please don't. You can work for me. We can move in together. I am so close to being in love with you. I just don't want you to go. And I was like, wow.
I love the honesty of I'm almost in love with you. It was amazing. Like I've never heard someone say that on a TV show or a movie.
Yeah, I've never heard it ever. But he's just like, I'll be in love with you soon. I know it. Yeah. And he's immediately like, let's just move in. I don't care what needs to happen. I need you to stay here.
And it's such a weirdly douchebag thing to say. Like if Desi said that, you'd be like, oh, you douche. But like him saying it just seems sincere.
It does seem sincere because he hasn't shown douche tendencies like Desi has.
And if he was a douche, he would have just been like, I love you, and like really hit hard to try to get her to stay. But he just kept it like 100 and just said, oh no, I'm not there yet, but we could get there, and I don't want to ruin this opportunity. So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I like this character of Scott. Like, he seems like an honest dude that, you know...
He doesn't seem like a real person, though. He doesn't seem like a real person.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that whole thing of, like, don't take the job was selfish, but I could see somebody doing that just out of, like, I feel like we're just getting started, and then this is going to end, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So I understand where he could be coming from there.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I thought it was, like, real selfish of him to be like, don't take that job.
Well, it is selfish, but, like, he didn't push so hard. That's what I mean. Like, he didn't go 100% with the, like, love, will you marry?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't go, like...
If he was a very manipulative person, he would have been like, no, I love you. I want to marry you. Let's stay here.
The example is, like, how Adam reacted when Hannah was leaving. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Adam was a lot more like, oh, so you're doing this to us? You giving up on us? Like, he was not like that. He didn't get all angry about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that gave Shoshanna even more to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So who does she go to search out advice? But the sage advice-giving character of this show, Ray. She heads over to Ray's coffee shop to look for Ray to get some advice on what she should do and what decision she should make. And she goes over there. Ray's not there, but who is? But Hermes, Colin Quinn, is there.
Mm-hmm.
And Shoshanna, he comes out and he's like, oh, shut up. I have a migraine, blah, blah, blah.
We still don't know. We still don't know what's wrong with him.
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to die like 3 seasons ago.
He's going to be on 5th season death.
Oh, maybe. That would be sad. I like Colin.
No, you got to kill someone bigger than Colin.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, I'm looking for Ray. Is he here? And he's like, he's a politician now. We're not part of his life anymore. She's like, well, I really need some advice. And he's the only person that I really trust to get advice from. And Hermes is kind of like, shoot, let me hear what you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Then she explains the situation about, like, I got offered a job in Tokyo, but there's this guy that I really like, and he wants me to stay. And Colin Quinn's like, shut up. Enough with this. I've got the solution. Take the job in fucking Tokyo. I believe his direct quote is, you want to be the walker, not the dog. Because he's like, you don't want to be the person that's following the lead of, like, the soup mogul guy. You don't want to be second in command. You want to, and he mentions lean in. I forget the name of the author of that. Mm-hmm. Do you remember who it was?
No, as soon as it passed, I was like, oh, I wish I knew what it was, because I don't remember.
We're not looking it up. That's but the author of Lean In, he mentions her and he's like, are you familiar with her work? And Shoshanna's like, yeah, of course I'm fucking familiar with her work. Like, are you? He's like, yeah, I read the book after I saw my wife had it on the table and she looked hot, so I read it and now I'm a convert.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is your moment to take hold of your life and lean in and like do what's best for you. And you shouldn't want to just follow the lead of some guy. Like, if this is a job that you really want and it's perfect for you, you should take it.
She has no reason not to take the job, though. That's the thing. Like, in her storyline, it's not... I don't know. Like, she hasn't been dating this guy that long. But they seem to enjoy each other.
I was curious to know, like, how long her and Scott have been dating.
Yeah, they haven't been dating.
Because it doesn't seem that long.
It hasn't been that long, but obviously there's feelings or whatever.
Yeah. There's almost love.
The people you hang out with are Jessa, Marnie, and Hannah. Who are just like, you know what I mean? Like, and
Hannah's already left the state.
Yeah. And you're super young, and like, this is the perfect like thing that once you have this on your resume, like, then you can just expand upon it. You're going to learn skills. Yeah. And the only thing holding her will be like, I guess, the relationship with Scott or whatever his name is. And her like Sex in the City like ideal of life. But dude, go to Tokyo.
Yeah, it's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity, you know. If I got offered a job in Tokyo, I mean, especially right now where we're at in America, see ya.
I don't think you would like Tokyo. I don't think you'd handle the food well.
Here's the thing: is everybody that I know that has been to Tokyo has been like, they love tall people there, and I'm tall as fuck. So I mean, I feel like I'd be tall.
Everybody's tall.
I feel like I'd be doing pretty good.
Every American's tall when they go to Tokyo usually.
My buddy at TIFF, he went to Tokyo and was like, it's seen as exotic to not be Japanese there. So we're like, it's like an odd thing to see, and people are very intrigued by you, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying what other people have told me. I have no idea about this. And I also dated a girl. This isn't Japan, but it's the Philippines. Her dad lived in the Philippines, and she's a tall blonde woman. And she would visit her dad in the Philippines, and people would legitimately stop her in public to take pictures with her. And she's not like a celebrity or anything. It's just like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, there's a tall blonde lady here. Like, what the fuck?
No, I mean, that's true. When I was in Italy, when I was like, 18, I was walking around and they thought I was like some famous soccer player, you know? I was like, no, because it's like, you don't see like different people in that place. It's not like the US or like New York or LA when you just walk past so many different varieties of people all the time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like Tokyo just because I'd be worshipped like a god there.
All right. You're good with languages and foreign foods. I know that about you.
Yeah, I would very much not know any. I would die there so fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hermes is telling her like, you should take the job and fuck that guy. Like, you know, there's other fish. You'll find love again or whatever. Who knows? Maybe you can make it work. And if the guy is worth anything, he'll be there waiting at the airport for when you return, if you ever do. You know, that's the thing that.
Did you think she was going to go track down Ray after this?
Not really, because she was like, you're very odd, but you're very wise. So I think that she got what she wanted by talking to Colin Quinn.
Yeah. Who is Ray's mentor. Yeah.
He is very much like the Yoda of all of this. Yeah. And Ray's like the Obi-Wan at this point.
Very unexpected. Unexpected. I didn't expect him to come in and be this giver of advice.
Well, especially because we haven't seen him in so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was good advice.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's fun. Yeah.
It was a good argument for taking the job. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I didn't get was when he says something about, you know, he'll be there waiting at the airport when you return. like this is a job. Like this could be permanent. She might not return. This isn't like a summer internship.
She'll come back to the U.S. at some point. It's not like she's going to be in Tokyo for the next 20 years.
I mean, maybe.
Nah, she wouldn't do it.
We don't know that. Especially
she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it.
If she's thriving in the role, maybe. If
she would take that.
zillionaire,
she would take that as a way to jump up somewhere else. I'm sure. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way she's sticking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that remains to be seen, because the last thing that we see with Shoshanna is that she tells Jessa that she is going to take the job.
Yep.
So that's where we leave off with Shoshanna.
And Jessa says, "You're going to make a great geisha." In classic Jessa.
Classic Jessa quip.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where she goes with that. I would love to see some in season 5, like some splitting time between Tokyo and New York and seeing how Shoshanna's doing.
That'll be interesting budget wise.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do it. But I would like
B-roll exteriors and build some sets. Yeah.
Yeah. I think now we can go to Marnie, right?
Yeah.
Because Jessa is kind of in Hannah's story.
Yeah.
So we can head on over to Marnie, Desi, and Ray. So we start off with Marnie and Desi at Ray's coffee shop, meeting with the record exec, and they're talking about the show that they have at night, and they're going to record something. Just, I don't know. It seems to me like generic what people think a record label executive would be saying. Talk.
She calls him out as being the president of the record label like twice. She's like, "Oh my God, you're the president of the record label. You don't want to hear about my engagement. Oh my God, you're the president of the record label." Like she said, like she doubles down on it, calling him that. Like, okay, we get it. This is the guy. Like
this is an important guy.
Yeah, we don't have to say it twice.
And they're bragging about the engagement. They're showing off the ring. And the record label guy is like, "Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Marriage is so beautiful. It's one of the best things ever. I love being married." And Marnie's like, "Oh my God, how long have you been married?" And he's like, "Well, 10 years after this most recent separation, though."
I think he's like including this most recent separation.
Yeah.
And then he goes on and talks about talking to his daughter via Skype and how she gets confused.
Yeah, because she doesn't understand that he's like on a screen. She wants to touch him, and he just gets very somber.
I'm going to say that kid would not be able to handle 2020.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's like a funny joke there, but like that kid obviously knows the people
how
on
dumb
the
is your
TV. The people on the TV aren't really there. Like.
Yeah, I feel like 3 is a little old to be being like, "Can I touch Dad through the screen?"
But I get what they were going for there. I get what they were going for.
Yeah, and then he gets all sad, and Marnie's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear about this." And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. But it's still fun."
But Desi says, talks about like how marriage is this outdated like system, and like until there's something better, this is the only way I know to show my love to Marnie. Like,
dude, Desi's the fucking worst. I hate that guy. I fucking hate him. He's such
playing
a douche.
His role to a T, man.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah,
dumb haircut and all.
Yeah, it's all there.
So they start to walk out, and I also was like, "Why are you doing this at Ray's
for this scene?"
Yeah,
for this scene. None of them live near there. There's no way this exec was like, "Hey, let's go to Ray's coffee shop," in a,
So they're walking out and they're getting ready to talk about going to do the show.
That they have a big showcase or something.
Yeah,
Spotlight showcase or something.
Yeah, it's like there's a bunch of music magazines. I think Pitchfork. I remember hearing Pitchfork was mentioned there, and a bunch of other music magazines or publishers or whatever. Big time shit going on. So they Marnie and the record exec head out. Ray and Desi's like, all right, I gotta square up with Ray. Ray, how much do I owe you? This is what we had. And Ray's just like, all right, cool. Don't worry about the water. Because he says, like, and we had a glass of water. And Ray's like, water is free. Yeah. And then Desi just kind of is like, hey, man, I just want to ask, are we cool? Because I feel like there's some shit going on between us. Like, there's some tension. And Ray's like, I will not give you this answer today. And it was something like,
Desi wants to know where he stands with people, like, because it makes him feel uncomfortable. And Ray keeps saying, well, I will not satisfy that.
Yeah, he's like, I want to know if there's any faults in my lines.
Yeah.
And I like to know where people stand with me. So where do we stand? And Ray's like, I will not be giving you that satisfaction and answer today. And then he asks him again, and he repeats the same. He's like, I will not be giving you that satisfaction today. Mm-hmm. And then Desi's basically like, why? And then Ray, this is like my favorite scene in this episode. Ray trashes Desi. Mm-hmm. Ray's like, I'm not going to give you that answer today because honestly, Desi, I fucking hate your guts. I hate everything about you. And Desi's like, I think if we have a heart-to-heart, we'll get together. And he's like, no, we won't. Because I hate everything about you. I hate your stupid distressed shirt. I hate your music. It's so tacky and insufferable. And you're just the biggest douchebag. And he's like, you know how you think Imagine Dragons is douchey when you see them on stage? That's how we all feel about you when you're on stage. Because you are a douche. Everything you scream is douche. And you don't deserve her. And then Desi's like, deserve her? Who? Are you talking about Marnie? And Ray's like, yes, I'm talking about Marnie. Marnie Michaels. You do not deserve her because you're too stupid to realize what an amazing, thoughtful, deep, incredible human being she is. And you will never be able to make her happy because you can't recognize that. And you're going to fuck up and she's going to forgive you and you're going to fuck up again and she's going to forgive you again and you're going to keep fucking up and she's going to keep forgiving you and you don't deserve her because you're such a douche piece of shit. And Desi's just like, whoa.
Well done. Great recap, Joe. He also mentions the eyeliner, which stood out to me, which I thought was amazing. Because every time I see Desi, I'm like, what is it? Like, like it's definitely the eyeliner. And I love that last part of saying like that she'll keep going back to him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because she will. Like I don't know. The only thing I disagree with Ray's statement is all of his like praise of how great Marnie is.
The thing that I disagree. The thing that I disagree most with Ray is that he loves Imagine Dragons.
That Ray loves Imagine Dragons?
Dude, Imagine Dragons sucks.
I only know their like radio songs.
You make me a believer. Yeah, that song.
Yeah, I don't
all of their songs sound the same.
Yeah, I haven't listened to a full album of theirs, but yeah, I don't hate that song.
Yeah.
I think I listened to that song over Marnie and Desi's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that, yeah. But what's your
thing
about his praise of Marnie? Because Marnie is a douchebag.
She's not like, she's like this deep and perfect. Like he makes it seem like she's like this. And I get it. He's in love with her and he's trying to make a point. But yeah.
Yeah. Marnie is a deeply flawed, manipulative, selfish person.
Yeah.
And he's making her be like this saint.
The episode before, wasn't she just like doing the engagement announcement at his campaign party?
She hijacked his campaign party to announce her engagement, which she told Desi not to tell anyone.
And that she obviously heard Ray's impassioned plea of like, please don't do this. That was so pointedly towards her. And she did it afterwards anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah. I loved Ray trashing Desi, though. Yeah. And all of it was accurate.
Long too, yeah.
It was accurate. And then I love that it's punctuated with keep your blood money.
Yeah.
It's not blood money, right?
When he said that, I was like, what are you talking about, Ray?
That was just a Ray thing to say, though. You
Such
know
a
what
Ray
I mean?
thing, yeah. What was I going to say? I love the acting in the scene overall. Like both of them. Like Desi's taking it. Like Desi's taking this. It hits him hard.
Yeah.
And he's actually, you could see his character like feeling all of it. And Ray has a way of doing this where it's not just him angry yelling like we've seen.
Yeah.
He has more like emotion behind it.
And it's thought out, and it's like he's thought about saying this to Desi for so long, and he's been waiting for this moment, and he's like, I have an essay on you.
Yeah. And he never thought he'd have the opportunity, but Desi set it up. Yeah, it's just, and the weirdest part about this scene is that Desi seems clueless that it's about Marnie. Like when he's like,
but Desi's stupid though.
Yeah, I mean, I just like, yeah, he is. We just never know how aware he is of things. Because I was like, you think Ray just doesn't like you because you hang out with Ray all the time? Like,
I did like the juxtaposition of like, look, I get that my Pacific Northwest attitude doesn't really mesh well with your abrasive Boston thing. And Ray's like, no.
Yeah.
It's not about that at all. It's not about where we're from.
Yeah, that's what really sets the whole conversation off, which was great because I was like, no, it's like you, the person, not you, the geographic location.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It was... Yeah, that's what really sets it off. Because after he's like, it's not about where we're from. It's about your distressed shirt. Yeah. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And I
mean, he is the opposite of everything Ray stands for.
Yeah. And I loved it. But the blood money line was very much just an overdramatic Rayism that I was like, of course.
Yeah. And I knew he wasn't going to charge him for this.
Me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved also that Desi, when he's like, you don't deserve her. And he's like, you talking about Marnie? And then he's like, yes, Marnie Michaels. And then Desi goes, bro, I mean, this is my fiance that you're talking about.
Yeah, he goes full Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. I loved that scene. I absolutely loved that scene.
How cozy does that coffee shop look?
That looks like a great coffee shop, dude.
Like in this time where you can't go inside stores and stuff and like you're not sitting in restaurants, it's like looking at that, I'm like, I would just sit there and stare at people and just drink a coffee.
Yeah.
Eat a chocolate croissant that I know I shouldn't have.
There's a place in LA and Hollywood by UCB called like the Bougie Pig or something.
Bourgeois Pig.
Yeah. No. That place is a dope coffee spot in LA. And it's very much like cozy.
It's very darker vibe though. Yeah.
It is really dark, but I love that place. That was like when I first moved here, it was a place where I think one of my first dates in LA was. Yeah. And I was like, this place is cool.
Coffee's good there. Wonder how they're doing. I haven't been on that strip. I haven't been on that strip in a while.
Yeah. Well, like Alcove in around Los Feliz, that place is really cool too and cozy. Mm-hmm. That's a dope coffee spot. Mm-hmm. Welcome to Coffee Recommendations with Joe and Vance.
Well, they were at Toby Estates for the proposal, so
that's true.
Why not have this disaster happen at Ray's Coffee?
Oh man! So, with the next time we see Marnie. She's at the venue for the show and Desi's nowhere to be seen. She's calling him. She's like, hey, where are you? I don't know where you are. You missed sound check. It's about a half hour before the show. This isn't like you. You should be here. And the record executive is kind of like, hey, where's Desi? And she's like, I don't know. I'm sure he'll show up. Like he might be just around the corner or something. He's probably, he'll be fine. And Ray pops in and he's like, what's going on? She's like, no, Desi's nowhere to be found, really. Actually, I think that Ray shows up after this scene.
Yeah, it's two quick scenes. It's like one where he's not showing up, and I don't remember if it's the first one or the second one, but where she's like, "Hey, it's just like we're like," because the label executive's like, "Hey, I just want this to be like we're working out of our garage," and she's like tries to throw that line back at him. He's like, No, it's not like that. Like I want it to feel like that, but this is real business. Like, and I love that turn of like, yeah, these people are seem laid back and cool, but they're like business oriented and want the job to get done. Like
they're still about that money, baby.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I got all these people coming. Like that hurts his reputation if these people from a place come down to see an artist and the artist don't show up. Or the artist sucks. That makes you look bad. Like, so yeah, he's got a lot, and she's starting to like tear up, and
yeah, that's when Ray shows up.
Yeah, like I forget what she's saying when she's crying about stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It's basically just like Desi's, I don't know what's going on. Desi never does this, especially when it's about his music. So I don't know what's going on. And that's when Ray shows up and he's like, what's happening? And Marnie's like, oh, Desi's not here. I don't know where he is. We're supposed to go on soon. And like, to the record label dude's credit, he's like trying to stall him. Like, I can put up another band, but like,
yeah,
Desi's got to fucking be here, you know?
Yeah. And then he was like, you know what, just go home. Like at one point, right? Like,
yeah, he's like, go home, take a bath, drink some tea.
Yeah.
Relax. We'll just have to do it again some other time. And Ray steps in and he's like, no, fuck that. No one's going home. No one's drinking tea. No one's taking a bath. And he's like, Marnie, do this yourself. You can do it yourself. And the record label guy is like, no, we kind of need Desi. And Marnie says something about like, no, these are Marnie and Desi songs. I don't really feel comfortable doing them without him. And then Ray's like, fuck him. Like, you need to do this for yourself and like show all these people that you're a great singer. And the record label guy's like, yeah, I don't know if we really do need Desi. She doesn't know how to. Oh, the record label guy's like, I mean, I could play guitar too. I'm pretty good. And then out of nowhere, I thought this was kind of douchey.
Yep.
Marnie just like kind of whips her hair back and she's like, no, I don't want you to play guitar. I'm pretty good too. I'll go on solo.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You were just crying about where's Desi.
Yeah, it was. And we've never seen her play a guitar, have we?
Yeah, no.
Like, at one point I was like, is Ray going to try to play? I'm like, he doesn't know these songs. Like, that'll be insane.
Yeah, I mean, but Ray was in a band at least, you know?
Yeah, but tell me if I'm wrong. Like, don't you need to know how the song is played?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a musical savant, which I don't think Ray is.
I don't think you just go up and it's one thing. It's like, hey, we're going to do some covers of songs. Sure.
Yeah.
But not when you're doing originals.
Yeah, that's true. You would need to. But like
something.
Either of their offers would have been like, but you don't know how to play any of these songs.
Yeah. Like you haven't sat there and watched them. Like, yeah.
But yeah, we've never previously seen Marnie playing the guitar or learning or showing an interest in learning.
Yeah, because when we first start out with music, it's she asks Ray if he knows how to do GarageBand or something, and he helps her put together that disastrous song that she sings to Charlie, maybe.
No. It's the Kanye West one.
The Kanye West cover, yeah. So no, I guess she just kind of sung that herself. I don't know what song he was helping her with, but anyway, like the first time they did music stuff, it was with Ray. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I did find it too cocky of a moment.
Well, it was just the sudden change of her being like, I can't do this without Desi. And then I think the record label guy's like, no, you're not a solo artist. Yeah. And she's like, actually, I started out as a solo artist. It's like, oh, you mean that viral, awful video?
Like, what do you mean started out? Like when you were singing in college or something? Like you haven't been in...
Yeah, you're not... You just started this musical career with Desi.
Yeah, like you started out just wanting to sing and then you became a band. Like that doesn't define you as a solo artist.
Yeah. So yeah, that flip of the switch of being like, actually... I'm pretty good at guitar. I mean, I can do this.
There's a way to do it where she can be like, okay, no, you guys, I'm going to do it. I can play guitar. Like if she does it without like the added cockiness of someone who was just like having a full breakdown backstage. Like if she like gets herself together and is like more earnest and maybe looks at Ray and he's like, no, Ray's right. I can do this myself. And then goes out. You're like, okay.
Yeah. Or even if there was a hint of like, I know how to play these songs, so if Desi doesn't show up, like I could just do it. But like it just comes from out of nowhere, I feel like, and then like the attitude of it, I was like, who the fuck are you?
And you know, it's like the attitude is thrown at the exact as if his offer was like offensive.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm the exec and I'm willing to play guitar for you.
Yeah, as like a favor because your bandmate didn't show up. Like, you're fucking me over so hard. I'm trying to throw you a bone. And she's like, I can do it myself.
Yeah. And I know that's the theme of this like whole episode is like, you can do it yourself. You know, these girls don't need to like rely on you. Have to forge your own path, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I mean, even with the next scene with Carolyn's sister, like she's trying to do it herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that one is like a more of a backfire. It doesn't really track, but yeah. But yeah.
I mean, she plays the show. She did know the songs, apparently. Has a great voice again. She's a good singer, if that is her singing, and I think it is.
I think it is, but I wasn't sure. It was definitely, more like not recorded live, like recorded later and put in and done over. So it was hard to. I think it's her.
It was a good sounding song if you're into that kind of music. Yeah, like she didn't fuck it up.
Yeah, and they use it as a montage, montage editing. It's in the backdrop.
Yeah, and so then she has a good performance. People seem to enjoy it. She comes off stage and she's standing with Ray, and she's like, "Did Desi ever show up?" And Ray's like, "No." And she's like, "I wonder where he is." Oh, and then there's like this running joke of like, "Is Desi? I hope he didn't die. I hope he didn't kill himself." Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like, I know like musicians and stand-up comedians have that like that suicide like history and past, but I'm like,
yeah,
you think Desi just killed like more so he might be in an accident like in his motorcycle, then he just offed himself before this little set.
Well, it's funny because the record label guy's like, I hope he didn't pull like an Amy Winehouse, a Jeff Buckley, and he names all the people that are in like the 27 Club, the people that mysteriously die that were successful musicians at 27, Kurt Cobain or whatever. And it's like, you're comparing Desi to all of these superstars?
Yeah.
Desi's a fucking nobody and he sucks.
I'm like, they haven't done anything yet. And like, you're like, all right.
It'd be such a shame if he died. It's like they did a couple demos. Like, it would be a shame if he died, but it's not like the music community would be like, oh, Desi's gone.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be mourning.
I don't even think half the people that know him on this show would mourn. Like, think about it. Like, Hannah's not going to cry at all. Shoshanna's not going to care. Like, Shoshanna might care a little bit.
Yeah. I am curious about where he went, though.
I don't think we ever see him again. I think
you're calling.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. When this was happening, and this became and I knew this was the last episode. And normally, you're getting rid of actors that are like side characters and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't think they're bringing Desi back for a full run next season.
You're predicting Desi's gone for good.
I'm predicting he's gone, or we get like a one recap scene, or like maybe like. We talk about something and it's like, hey, Desi disappeared and he moved back to, Portland
Seattle.
or whatever, Seattle. Yeah. Because I was like, how are we going to get rid of Desi? Because I knew he wasn't going to be like with her, like, because this wasn't going to end in like a wedding thing and we saw the Ray thing. I was like, how are we going to get rid of him? And it was running out of time on the show, and him just not showing up seems like that might be the straw that breaks Marnie.
Yeah. I kind of, if they do get rid of him, I could see them doing a like Charlie one scene of dialogue being like, oh yeah, he went back home and he's crazy. Turns out that he slashed my tires and like that guy sucks. Yeah, like then he's just never seen again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where we leave Marnie and Ray. There's like an awkwardly long scene where they're just standing in silence together. And that wraps up their story.
Well, yeah, right? they have this bond, and they're working towards it. Yeah.
Excited to see where that goes in season 5. Is Ray going to win her back? Is she going to realize that Ray is the one for her, or is she going to keep chasing Desi? I would like to know what happened to Desi.
I think he chickened out because of Ray's thing.
You think
Ray's
so?
Speech. Oh, absolutely. Ray gives that speech, and then he doesn't go, and then they don't go to the showcase.
Ray's speech definitely had an effect on him, for sure.
And if you know Desi's like, oh, I was in a bad emotional state and I couldn't do this, and
your fucking friend Ray ruined my mind.
Yeah.
Made me question everything. And then maybe like, I don't want this. Something stupid that Desi would do and say. I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Hope he's gone. Anyway. Moving on to our main event of the evening. Hannah, Adam, Caroline, Laird, Jessa story. We start off with Hannah walking outside of the school. She's having a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
She can't breathe, having a hard time breathing. She's like, I just need to sit down. I need to get some air. Fran comes out to check on her. He's like, are you all right? Is everything okay? She's like, no, I'm having a panic attack. He's like, oh, Jesus, like, what's going on? She's like, well, I mean, I've just been having a lot of family shit going on. I am fucking losing my mind, which I think is fair. If you've got, like, the crazy family shit that she's got going on, panic attack could happen.
I would actually think that this wouldn't bother her as much as it does anymore.
It does seem like it's been a while for that, but, like, I mean, I don't know. Shit can pop up anytime.
Yeah, but I feel like her issue last time wasn't so much her dad coming out and being gay, but just the thought of him actually physically having relations with people. She didn't like hearing about that, but whatever, it's fine.
Maybe she's wrestling more with it now emotionally.
And her parents say, yeah, it's all fine.
So Fran comes out to check on her. She's like, is everything okay in there? And he's like, yeah, everything's fine. What was the thing that like triggered this? She said a student had something crazy weird happen, or she brought something weird into class. You talking about what
Fran said?
Fran or Hannah, I can't quite remember.
No, she like walked out of class, and then he's like, no, she's like, is they fine? It was like the class you just walked out of? Sure. And then he said something about like someone brought a gerbil in the class and like squished it. And
yeah, that's
now that's all they're talking about. So that wasn't before. That happened after she left. So she just left with a panic attack. It wasn't triggered by anything.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing that I was trying to be like, what? I know that somebody said something that weird happened, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So Fran is like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, you're having a panic attack. You're going through some shit. Let's just breathe. Let's calm down. And then we'll go back inside. And they start to like rub her back. And he's like, is this all right? She's like, yeah. And then she looks at him kind of like, oh man, I really like this guy and I fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And she did, to be fair.
Yeah.
Fran seems like a good dude so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So emphasis on the so far. Because any guy that's in this show turns out to be a secret douche.
Yeah. Except for like Elijah and Ray. Ray started out as a douche.
Ray's kind of a douche, but like a good-hearted douche. And Elijah's a douche, but he's a hilarious douche.
Yeah, but like, I hope Fran doesn't go down like that bad path of like the Desis or the Mimi Roses.
Me too. I would be very sad if Fran does, because Fran seems like such a good head on his shoulders person.
No, we're skipping ahead here. So let's.
Yeah. So after that scene, Hannah is coming home to her apartment. She hears wailing, screaming from the downstairs apartment where Laird and Caroline reside. She puts her head up to the door to hear what's going on. I thought it was them having sex at first because it sounded like sex moans. But then I also knew that it was like home birth was the title of this episode.
Yeah, I was like, absolutely, she's having home birth.
Yeah. So she is got her head up to the door, and Laird opens the door, and he's like, oh, Hannah, what's going on? Come on in. Let me show you what's going on with Caroline. They go to the bathroom. Caroline's in a tub, completely naked, completely super pregnant.
Really pregnant, like real life pregnant, it looked like.
Yeah, ready to give birth, dude. Ready to do it. And Laird's like, yeah, we're just going to do it at home. What's the word for
doula?
He's like, I'm going to be your doula. She taught me everything she knows about being a doula. Hannah's like, is she a doula? And Caroline's like, I mean, kinda, almost. It's whatever. It's fine. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then Hannah's kind of like, maybe you should actually go to a hospital And then Caroline's like, no, I fucking can do this. Like, this is like how they used to give birth all the time back in the day. Like, I don't want to have doctors and be at a hospital. And Larry's like, yeah, we decided to do it this way. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I mean, all right. That seems like not a good idea. Then next scene, Adam comes birthing through the door.
Did you say birthing through the door?
Oh, yeah, birthing. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Little slip there.
Wow.
Adam comes bursting through the door, sees Caroline naked in the tub, and he very matter-of-factly, very accurately questions, what the fuck are you doing?
The intensity that he has in his demeanor, his face, his voice, every statement is like pointed into the, like,
yeah, he's serious about this.
It's like a firefighter breaking down the door and trying to find out where the baby is he needs to save from this burning wreckage. Like,
yeah. And then she's like, we're going to have the birth at home. And he's like, oh, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You should not do that. Mm-hmm. We need to take you to a hospital. Mm. And then I don't know if this was in the previous scene or if it's in this scene. They mentioned that the baby is coming out a month and a half early.
The first scene.
Okay.
Yeah. They were like...
Sorry that we skipped through that. Yeah, that seems like a significant amount of time that's early.
It is.
Like, not in a good way.
Not in a good way. And definitely, like, we'll talk about what they did at the end. But yeah, like, yeah, that is not good.
That's very... I mean, I've never had kids. I don't know anything about that, but that... I believe that that's early.
Yes, a month and a half. If you take 9 months and minus a month and a half from that, that's very early.
Yeah, like, 7.5 months doesn't seem good.
And babies in general are born like early in themselves, just because of the head of the sides of their head. Like, that's why babies don't come out and they can't like do much, because they're still developing outside. So if they're early, they really need treatment and care. Like a lot of women and kids die in like childbirth if it's just natural, like just in the like.
Well, that's the thing about the argument of like, this is how they used to do it. They used to do it like this all the time. It's like, yeah, babies used to die all the time. Mothers used to die all the time too.
Yeah, that's the trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a real risky proposition, and Adam notices that. And he's like, you should go to the fucking hospital where there's medicine and doctors and people that know what they're doing.
At least have a doula and an emergency call right on staff. Like at least have a backup plan for if something goes wrong, you know?
Yeah. Like your backup, your plan A, plan B, plan C can't all be layered.
Yeah. And Hannah just randomly coming down.
Yeah. So Adam's like, you should be in a hospital where there's fucking medicine and doctors and people that know what they're doing. And Hannah's like, yeah, that's kind of what I said too. And Larry's like, no, we got this, dude. Like, we understand. Hannah says something about a documentary that she saw about like, yeah, this is actually like, people can do it. And then Laird says something about a Tom and Jerry episode that he saw where Tom is pregnant with like on the range and there's like a cowboy or something.
And Adam just yells at him like immediately.
Adam screams, will you shut the fuck up at him? And he's screaming at both of them like, you need to not do this here.
And then Carolyn yells at Adam to not yell at her, like her husband or the father of her child. Like, and she is full volume, full rage. It's amazing.
Adam and Caroline are screaming at the top of their lungs.
I gotta say, the casting of them two being brother-sister is kind of incredible.
Yeah,
like,
fantastic.
Like, I haven't seen a lot of her work. What's it, Gabby? What's the actress's name playing Caroline?
Yeah, I forget
Gabby
her
Hoffman. Name. Gabby Hoffman, I think.
Yeah.
And she's so great in this character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Adam is like, will you please cover your naked body too? Because I am your fucking brother.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I will cover my breasts, but for obvious reasons, I will not cover my vagina. So fucking good.
Dude, and that tub is like almost filled to the brim. It was going to be a mess, dude.
Yeah,
it was
water is splashing all over the place anyway.
But I mean, once the birth happens, I mean, it is going to be, it's going to be awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So things are tumultuous, to say the least, in the Laird Caroline household.
Yeah.
So then the next scene, we see Jessa is there now.
She's just there.
Yeah.
Someone called her? Did she just show up? Did she magically appear?
She's there, and the first question that I asked myself was, why?
Yeah.
Why is she there?
Yeah. All of this is happening. You would think Adam or Hannah would just be like, fuck what she's talking about. Let's just call an ambulance. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, let's save her from herself. Not, you know what? Let's call in another friend.
Yeah. I mean, Caroline is very adamant about, like, I want to do this home birth, and Laird's just going along with it because he's a pushover, it seems.
He's just a nice guy, you know?
Yeah. And Jess is like, I want to see what's going on in there. I want to see like everything. And she asks Adam's like, have you seen her? And he's like, yeah, I was just in there. And she's like, no, but have you seen her like vagina? What's going on with her vagina? And Adam's like, no, I didn't fucking see her vagina. She's my sister. And then Jess is like, maybe you should see her vagina because she needs you right now. And she is your sister.
Yeah, because she is your sister. Yeah. Is this the moment where you're like, oh yeah, Adam's definitely going to hook up with Jessa?
Yeah, that prediction might be going south, but
I don't know. They have a bond if one of them called her over.
Yeah, I don't know why she's there.
Yeah,
I'm holding steadfast in I think they're gonna hook up, but that took a little bit of
they do have a weird, strange bond. So I'm not fully. I just don't understand how the Marnie tie-in is gonna work.
Maybe it's a three-way. Maybe they got a three-way going.
I made a wild prediction that last episode that Jessa was going to sleep with Desi as a way to break up Marnie and Desi, because I was like, they have to like kind of break up somewhat. I threw out a wild card of that happening.
I don't know if that's
that was wrong. That was wrong.
That remains to be seen, but I think it's pretty slim. And
that was a deep reach. That was just going to be like Jessa does her nice thing in this episode. In this way, as opposed to her nice thing being like, oh yeah, I slept with Desi, so you could be like, oh, this guy's a loser. You know?
Yeah. I feel like my prediction of her and Adam hooking up took a hit in this episode, just because I think that Adam, he's not suffering her bullshit anymore, I don't think.
No, I think the prediction stays neutral because of how it ends.
Okay. Yeah. So eventually Jessa does go in there because Caroline is screaming now, and Laird comes out of the bathroom. He's like, guys, something's wrong. She is in pain. This doesn't seem like it's going as well as we thought it was going to go. And it might be time. Well, then Adam is like, that's it. I'm fucking calling an ambulance. And he's like, no, don't do that. Like, we can figure this out. Adam's like, fuck you. I'm calling an ambulance. Jess is like, ugh, fuck all of this. I'm going in. Jessa goes in. Caroline is on all fours, screaming and being like, this doesn't feel right. This hurts. I'm in so much pain right now. And I was like, oh God, this is fucking terrifying.
I mean, it's got horror movie vibes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Jessa tells her, like, you just got to lay back, listen to me. I'm going to like see what's going on here. Caroline's like, I'm not going to listen to fucking anybody anymore. And she's like, just shut up, lay down. Jessa ties her hair. She's like, she says something to Laird about like, you need to man up and be a man right now. And Laird is like, I'm not a man. I'm a 135-pound former junkie. I'm not ready for this. I don't know what I'm doing. Jess is like, ugh, you're such a bitch, basically. Mm-hmm. Ties her hair up, dunks her head in the fucking water, opens her eyes, turns, looks at Caroline's vagina, and kind of looks, I think she even says, she goes, oh. and then pulls her head out. And she's like, I saw a foot. And then they're like, she's breaching.
Yeah.
And then this is where everyone's very much on the same page about like, we need to call an ambulance. We need to take this woman to a hospital now.
That shot of her dunking her head in, it's a great shot. And it's also like so gross, but like such a great shot. Like, and her reaction, and like the fact that Jessa just did it, which is, she's the only person that was going to do that.
Yeah. That's why she's in this scene.
Yeah. And then she just like tells Laird what he needs to hear. Like, he has to get her out of there.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna get out of here. You need to man up, and you need to get your wife out of this tub because she needs help. And he's like, she's not my wife. I just wear this ring because it makes me feel good. We're not even married.
Amazing.
Laird's ridiculous, dude, man.
He's a character like I never thought we'd see more of than like sporadically.
Mm-hmm. And we do only see him sporadically.
No, but like I really thought like he'd be like here for like a like brief moment, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think he would be at the level of Colin Quinn's character, not where like he's in full episodes and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Like he's
like a part of
this
world. Yeah. He's a part of this world. Yeah.
So everybody leaves. The next scene is Hannah being like, I just checked Waze. It might be faster for us just to walk to the hospital. Laird comes out holding a nude Caroline. Like, I got her out of the tub. Let's go. We got to get out of here. Then they're just carrying her down a public street. All four of them, Jessa, Hannah, Adam, and Laird, carrying her.
Is she wearing... Is she in a trench coat or something? Like, I forget what she's in.
It looks like she's just wearing a blanket or something.
Yeah. And why didn't she want them to take a car or something? She said something like, I won't get on a bus or a train. She says something while he's holding her there. Do you remember?
I think it was something about how she didn't want him to ride in an ambulance. And she did go on a long thing about, like, I don't want to be in a hospital where there's drugs and doctors and test tubes and all this shit. And she thinks that Western medicine is a bunch of bullshit.
But she says that all in the tub.
Yeah.
I'm saying when she was picked up.
I don't remember what she said about the cars, though.
All right, yeah.
But they're all four of them are carrying her. She's screaming, like, don't drop me.
And, like, I'm thinking she's real life pregnant while they're doing this.
I'm thinking while they're carrying her, there's a baby's foot coming out of her vagina in public. Like, they're carrying her and there's a foot hanging out of her.
I don't think it's full. I don't think it's fully hanging. I don't know. But definitely that baby needs to be turned around to come out.
I mean, Jessa saw a foot.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I don't know, like if it's just like dangling and flopping around down there, but I don't know. Like,
I don't know either. We didn't see that, thankfully.
I don't know. But yeah, the breach is definitely. I don't even like. They have to like turn the baby around in there, like, yeah. And it's a premature baby, so.
Yeah, I mean that's I think a really real big concern.
Remember last episode I was like, I think it's been longer than 9 months. And now it's like it's only been 7.5.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline of the show at all.
Hannah has moved to Iowa and back in 7 months.
Yeah, I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
But you just gotta be along for the ride, Vance.
Guess so.
So Caroline gives birth to the kid. Laird comes out all proud and happy, like, we just gave birth to a bouncing ass baby girl. And they're like, oh my God, that's awesome. And it's healthy. And he's like, yep. And then they all walk in to see Caroline. And they're like, where's the baby? And she's like, it's in a warm box. And they're like, oh, what'd you name it? They named the baby Jessa Hannah Bluebell Poem Sackler.
Yeah, that's Adam's last name.
Yeah, I think that they also included Laird's last name too. I don't remember what his last name is, but I remember it being a ridiculously long name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they give birth, and
it's in a box because it's a premature baby, so it's like in one of those incubators. Likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seems about right because it is very, very premature based on my unprofessional, unknowing anything about birthing babies opinion.
Well, if you know what the word premature means, then
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, and they named it after Jessa and Hannah.
Yeah, Jessa first.
Yeah. Well, Jessa was the catalyst.
Yeah, I guess so. Jessa, Hannah, Bluebell poem, something, Sackler.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Caroline and Laird. We're very happy for them. And
you said that with no joy in your voice.
Yeah, because they're not real people and they're not going to listen to this. But
why did you even say it then?
Because I wanted to give some shout outs.
Just like that ingrained like sense of having to like give congratulations.
Yeah, I guess so.
You're your Western sensibilities.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but no, I do like how Jessa's like beaming it here. She's really beaming.
She's like, you named her Jessa, and then Hannah's like, yeah, they named her Jessa Hannah.
Yeah. She's like hyphen it, whatever. And like Laird's like, yeah, she's the one that told me words that I needed to hear. You know, and Adam standing back there, he's beaming too, and that's why I say your prediction is like level here because Jessa basically saved their lives by being the only person that was able to dunk. I just don't understand why they didn't call anybody. Like, who cares if she's telling you that she doesn't want this? Like,
look, I hope
your sister's gonna be mad at you no matter what. So
I hope
you might
that
as well
I'm
call an ambulance.
I hope that I'm right about the prediction. I'm not wavering from the prediction, but I think even though that you're of the opinion that it's neutral, I think it took a little hit. But I'm sticking to my guns. I think it's still going to happen. But
I mean, that's all we do on the show, stick to our guns. I'm still sticking to Adam hooking up with Marnie, even though it seems...
and that was from season 1, I think.
Yeah, but if it happens, it's great. If it doesn't...
Yeah, I'm still trying to get joewelke@gmail.com.
Oh, jeez. You should give up on that because that's not happening. Yeah,
that saga's over, I think. But you should follow us on Instagram at BoysWatchingGirlsPodcast. Anyway, so the next thing we see is Hannah and Adam playing with the baby in the incubator and being like, oh, this is so beautiful. Hannah decides that this is a moment to give the baby life advice. She says something about like, it's not always going to be great, but it will be intriguing always. And then out of nowhere, Adam tells Hannah, hey, me and Mimi Rose are over. And Hannah's like, I'm so sorry to hear that. And Adam's like, yeah, I think I made a mistake. I was just lost and I didn't know what I was doing. And I made a mistake. And Hannah's like, oh. And Adam goes, yeah, I really miss you. And I would love to have you back. I made a mistake. I want you in my life again. And all of this just made me realize how much I miss you and how much I want you in my life. And I would like to have you back. And Hannah says, I think that you're just really tired. You're swept up in a lot of this stuff. Maybe once you get some rest, get some thoughts cleared up, you'll feel better and you'll come to your senses, basically. And Adam's like, no, this is how I feel. I'm thinking clearly. I made a mistake. I was lost and I want you back. And Hannah says, I can't do that. And then Adam says, yeah, you can.
I love that response. Like, yeah, you can. Yeah, it's fine.
And then Hannah's like, I can't. And he's like, come on. I need this. I need you back in my life. She's like, I can't. I'm sorry. And then Adam goes, okay. And he just kind of accepts it. And I thought that was a very powerful scene.
I was really happy with the outcome. And I agree. Like, it was a powerful scene because any scene with them when they really just dive in and they're not like, it's not like half jokes and then kind of like funny arguments, like when they really go to their emotional depths, like I think he brings something out of her acting wise, and like she gives back what he needs. Like the two of them actually do have a really good chemistry on screen together. And
I agree.
And yeah, I was just really happy that they didn't get back together, because I was like, if they got back together, I'm like, okay, that's the, like, we could see that coming from the beginning of the season. They break up, they get back together. Next season, they'll have to find a new way to break up, and then they'll have to find a new way to get back together. You know, like, this one was like, okay, you know? And it goes with the theme of everyone just like carving their own path, not following in.
Going out on their own.
And I was like,
I thought, go for it.
No, I was just like, yeah, I just thought it was really well done. Well, a good choice to have right here.
Yeah, it was I was happy because it felt like, you know, there was growth and Hannah realizing like, I can't do this again. And I was like, this is a powerful character growth moment. And I loved it. Like the acting was great in it. Mm-hmm. Adam being vulnerable like that and being like, I need you back. And she being like, I can't. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can. Perfect.
If you threw a kid in there, it would have been money. Yeah.
And Hannah just being like, I can't, and like starting to well up. Amazing acting. That was such a great scene. Mm-hmm. Fucking love that scene. And then that's where we leave that scene, basically. Adam just accepting, like, you know, you don't get a zillion chances at people, you know? Yeah. So then Hannah calls her mom, and she's like, I saw a baby birthed today. It's like really cool, and like I thought it was really awesome. And her mom is like, that's so awesome. I'm so proud of you. And you know what? You're so great, and you have so much of your life ahead of you, and you're going to see so many awesome things, and I have no future ahead of me. And you don't have to tether yourself to a foolish, stupid man. She's like, you can do anything in your life. You can do more than anything in your life. You have all these options ahead of you, and I have none, because I decided to tether myself to this idiot, dumbass guy. And as she's saying this, there's like a zoom out to reveal that Hannah's dad is right next to Hannah's mom.
I knew that was coming. As soon as she started saying it and where she was sitting in the framing, I was like, oh yeah, he's absolutely sitting right there.
Oh my God.
And it's funny because it seems like Hannah knows it too.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. Put dad on.
Yeah, Hannah's like, oh, okay, great. Can you put daddy on the phone? Yeah. It's like so brutal.
Oh my God. And it was such an interesting like choice for it to have her talk about that right after she broke up. Like, it was one of those weird things where I want to talk about the Jessa thing, but it does a fast forward for 6 months. Right. It fast forwards for 6 months ahead. And when they did that, I was like, it came right after she was saying all this stuff. So I was like, oh, did she just go? Because it reminded me of when the mom was in the hospital with Flo, with the aunt or the whatever, and
grandma,
yeah, Flo, and she was like, oh, well, you're not really gonna marry Adam, right? Like every time like they're in the hospital, the mom says something like bad about Adam or their relationship in a way, and I was getting those vibes again.
I forgot to leave off where Jessa is as well, tie her bow on her story. So after they talk about after the baby is birthed and all that shit, Jessa comes home to Shoshanna, and that's where Shoshanna tells her, like, I'm going to take a job in Japan. And Jessa says, I want to be a therapist. I'm going to be a therapist, which I think that's what you predicted. Right?
I predicted that last season when she was at rehab and she was calling everyone out.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's her skill. That's her ability, is to actually be able to read people. Like, that's the thing she's good at. So I was like, oh my God, that actually came true.
Yeah.
So I'll take that victory lap of that one.
Yeah.
And I think she'll be good at it.
Kudos to you for that right prediction.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I just think it's going to be, I'm just happy that now Jessa has a path and like a storyline that we can actually follow.
Yeah.
Because she's been just aimlessly wandering around. Like, her being a junkie was never really a thing.
Yeah. And her story with Ace was like 3 episodes long and went nowhere. And
then like her story with Beatty, the artist, was an episode and a half basically. Like, she hasn't had any any like long through line stuff. So
yeah, and her story with Jasper, like she's had a lot of stories that just start and end within like 2 or 3 episodes.
yeah, like the Jasper one was like, oh, a big turning point of her being like junkie recovery. So I guess that kind of brought her to the AA thing that brought her close to Adam.
I guess.
But she hasn't had like a thing to do.
Yeah. So I'm actually excited to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that I hate on Jessa all the time, but now, like you said, now that she has a purpose and something to strive for and a goal that she wants to accomplish, I would like to see some growth with her. And it seems like there could be some growth with her through this storyline.
Yeah, just seeing scenes of her like giving hard, honest truth to like people coming for advice for her. Like, I think that would just be great. It's like the perfect use of her skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where we have a cut to 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Hannah and Fran in the winter walking down the street, and they smooch each other, and Hannah and Fran are together now, which I think is... I love Fran, and I hope that he stays in the show, but he wasn't wrong about Hannah being a drama queen.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this is like Hannah's putting her drama behind her, maybe. Hopefully there's some like maturity growth thing, because she did just have a character growth maturity moment when she turned down Adam.
But I don't want to watch the show if she's not going to do weird dramatic stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
If it's like, a bunch of emotionally mature people just like going through life, that's not interesting.
That's not interesting at all. Yeah. She's just like, hey, what do you want to get for dinner? I don't know. I guess we'll just eat leftovers. All right. Girls. Like that's it.
Yeah. I saw there's this new documentary on Netflix. You want to watch it? Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. No, I'm going to go to bed early. I got to get up for work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
But no, like it wasn't enough of a turn for me to think that Fran would like. That's why they did the 6 month thing. Oh, and I had a question for you. So Judd Apatow, was he a writer on this one? This episode,
yeah,
Tim?
He's a co-writer with this with Lena Dunham and Jenny Connor.
It had the vibes of what was that season 2 finale. Where everyone starts...
when Charlie and Marnie are together
doesn't
again.
It like cut forward and everyone's all coupled up and like walking arm in arm, and it's like this very like upbeat, happy ending.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I was like, okay, and I saw Judd Apatow's name come up again. And I like Judd Apatow movies, you know, but there's a sensibility there that I think sometimes isn't fully this show's sensibility or Hannah's. It's like her sensibility, but then that kind of like more commercial, like it's more satisfying to a general public.
Yeah, happy ending.
Yeah,
to send people home like feeling good about themselves at the end of the season.
Because I'm down with like I was ready to like stop playing once it faded out, and she's like, "Can you put Dad on?" Now, to me, that's a girl's ending, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're like, "Ooh, we need this to be like a real series season ending." And so it's like, oh, 6 months later, and then we see them walking arm in arm, and I'm like, this feels like a different show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you excited to see where this goes with her and Fran?
No, because I know it has to end with him, and I just didn't think her having a panic attack was enough of a draw for him to be like, oh yeah, she's not dramatic now, and that's the last thing we saw, you know. Mm-hmm. But then we do a 6 month jump without seeing any of the relationship form. Like, come back in and let me just see her working at the school and slowly
develop the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, we have time to do that in the first 2 episodes of next season if we want that to happen. I just thought the 6 month jump was like, oh, let's get to it already so we can tear it down by episode 5 or something. I don't know. It just didn't seem like where it was really going necessarily. I mean, it is hinted to in the first scene, like, because Fran does seem to care.
He cares.
But he walked away. He walked away from her.
Yeah, his walk away was so perfect and great, and it made the most sense. And now it's like he went back on that, and it kind of rendered that moot. you know?
Yeah, and you can see that walk away on the Instagram. Instagram. Yeah. I clipped that just because I was like, that is such a cool double take moment. And it's just like,
you're calling
great.
me a bitch. You're kind of acting like a bitch. And Fran's just like, boy, I made the right decision.
Yeah.
He went from that one episode ago to now they're together.
Yeah. Which is now 6 months forward. So I guess she's still working at the school.
Yeah.
Oh, and now that we've jumped 6 months already, Shoshanna could be on her way back from Japan.
That's true.
Like,
I think out of all of the girls' stories, the one that I'm least excited about is Hannah's with Fran. Yeah, and I like Fran.
Yeah, I do. I think I like the actor. I like the performance.
You know what? Actually, I think I'm least excited about Jessa's just because, like, I know Jessa's stories are always weird. And, like, I just don't have any faith for them to pay anything off with her. I'm excited and happy that she has a goal, purpose, motivation now.
Yeah.
But I'm just so jaded with her stuff that I can't really put any stock in it. So I would put Hannah and Fran's story just a little bit above where Jessa is in terms of my excitement for, like, what's going to happen next with them.
I think I care a little less about Shoshanna stuff, especially if we're not in Japan and seeing her walk around the city.
Yeah.
It's just going to be work business stuff. I will say I'm intrigued of what they're going to do with Ray Marnie. Like 6 months have passed. Are they together now? Like
that story is the one that I'm most excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, when you do time jumps like that, it's always tricky because I'm thinking like, okay, so they did this showcase. At this 6 months later, Marnie could have like an album out and be recording a second one, and had just gone on tour. Like, you know, it's like so many things. Like Ray's been a campaign. He's been a councilman for 6 months already. Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
What is Adam doing? What is Adam up to?
Yeah, I would like to know what Adam's up to too, because his future is kind of shrouded in mystery at this point. Because the last thing we see of him is he's just getting rejected, so he has to move on to do something else. I think that he'd be a great uncle. He's going to show a lot of care to that baby.
He definitely is creepy uncle vibes, for sure. He definitely has uncle vibes.
Yeah. But I believe now would be a great time to get to our, I think we do it mid-season and now we're doing it season ending as well.
And sometimes we do it randomly.
Yeah. Throw it in there. We used to do it at the end of every episode, but we decided that was a little too much.
Yeah.
It is time for our Likeability Rankings for the girls. Are we including the guys in this? Who is on the board?
So, I think we should do the girls separate from the guys.
Okay, so we're doing a girls specific only one,
I prepared
and then
for this,
whole
and
cast.
I texted Joe to be prepared for this, and before we recorded, I said, "Did you do anything?" And he just shook his head, no.
Well, I mean, I didn't know who was on the board.
There's four girls. Like,
no. I mean, I know that, but I didn't know if we're including Ray or Elijah or even Laird or Caroline now. Or
but you could have put all of them in if you wanted to. You never texted back about. You never texted back about what's on the board.
All right, yeah,
I'm just saying. I just want people to see. I just want to see what people to know what I deal with on a daily.
Call me out on the
daily
podcast.
basis.
Okay, Vance. No need to get. Are you about to give me, Joe Welke, as a human being, a 1-star review?
No, I texted you because the last time we did a season ending finale, we did it like live and it was long and we got really heated.
Yeah, that was fun.
So I was like, oh, we'll at least come in knowing stuff so people don't have to watch us, listen to us, and not talk and think. But I wrote down some stuff, and
I can get my rankings pretty quickly, but I just need to know who is eligible to be ranked. So please lay it out for me.
Hannah, Marnie, Shoshanna, Jessa, Mimi Rose is thrown on there, and that's the girls.
Okay. Oh, Mimi Rose is part of the girls now.
I'm just throwing her in because she's just going to be the worst.
Okay, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And for the guys, we have Ray, Elijah, Adam, Desi, Ace, and then Laird and Fran. Just throwing them in there too.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to do the guys first and then the girls, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, we should do the guys first because this is girls. They're the headliners.
All right.
So for the guys, let me see here. Are we going top to bottom? Who should I go?
Yeah, top to
who
bottom.
I think
whatever. Yeah.
I'm going to go worst to first. All right.
Okay.
Worst. Desi.
I have Desi and Ace almost tied for worst.
Desi, I have Ace right above Desi.
Before, and this was before this episode, so I'm going to go Desi worst just because of the abandonment.
Yeah,
at the end. That like he was cheating on his girlfriend to begin with. The bogus proposal, the yelling at Marnie, the abusive relationship. Yeah.
Blew through their advance on guitar pedal, or
possibly
multiple.
their advance. I don't know. We don't know where the money came from, but I'm going to say
blows
Desi
through that,
worst.
And then abandons the big show.
Yeah,
Desi's in the basement for me.
Desi's in the basement.
Ace, we got a very, very small taste of, and all of it was not good.
Yeah, the toothbrush alone, the toothbrush piece of flair alone.
Yeah,
and
absolutely
then
horrible. And just his manipulation games with Adam and Mimi Rose, and Jessa. He had me feeling bad for Jessa for a minute. Like, that is something special, douche. Like, that guy sucks. So he is slightly above Desi. I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Now it's getting a little tough.
Right here, I got Adam. Here.
I concur. I'm with you on that. Adam,
the way his disregard when he was dating Mimi Rose, his disregard for Hannah is really the one that brings him down. Because other than that, he's been okay and he gets hurt by Mimi Rose. But when Hannah shows back up from Iowa and he's just like, "Oh, you're moving out for good." Like, he is so dismissive and...
Yeah, that's a douche move.
Yeah. Oh, I paid for your stuff in storage. Yeah.
Yeah, and then even in this last episode where he's like, "I made a mistake, I'm trying to get you back." It's like, that could be how he feels, but he has to learn the lesson of, like, you can't just get everybody back. And that was kind of a bullshit move by him, but I understand how he could be feeling that way. And he just, like, fell in the Mimi Rose trap. Like a doofus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you on Adam being at number 4.
Okay.
At number 3.
No, that's number. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
sorry. I'm going because there's 6.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Desi's at 6, Ace is at 5, Adam at 4.
We have
number
7
3.
people.
There's 7?
Yeah. Laird and Fran. Do you have Laird and Fran?
Oh, Laird. I forgot about Laird.
Don't forget about Laird.
Yeah, my bad. Well, then right above Adam, I'm going to have Laird.
I don't know. I don't actually know where Laird fits in. Laird was a late addition to my thing.
Yeah, Laird's not in the season a lot, and what we see of him, like,
let's kick Laird out of this.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's an X factor.
He's not in it too much. Yeah. So if he were to go anywhere, I think I'd have him there, just because we don't see him too much, and what he does in this episode, he needs to man up, and he's not being a very smart person.
Yeah.
But in the end, like, he's happy. He's, like, trying.
Yeah, and he's done nothing but, like, try to help out Anna and stuff. So, but yeah, Laird, he's going off the list. He's his own neutral person.
He's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Honorable mention for Laird.
So I'm going to say my third person is Elijah.
Same. That's how I have Elijah here. Yeah. Elijah starts off this season with, like, he's doing real weird shit in Iowa. Doing real weird shit, but not offensively bad.
Yeah,
but
third isn't like bad or anything wrong. It's just like where he falls in this category. Like, if you're top 3, you're almost neck and neck, you know?
Yeah, he's in it enough to where we get a good grasp of, like, what he's been up to this season. And and he doesn't do anything offensively bad, but he's also just a snarky motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he takes the dad out and takes him doing it like a gay boy makeover or something.
But yeah, none of these things are like negatives on him. Like,
yeah,
he never crossed the line that much. He did have that weird Was this the season he had that weird line about Pal from the brunch thing?
I'm not sure. That was either this season or last season. I can't quite remember.
Whatever. I mean, Elijah's fine.
Yeah, he's all right. I think that was last season, though.
Yeah. And
number 2.
My number 2 is Ray.
Same.
Yeah.
Ray is doing good stuff. I'm glad to see him moving up in the world. Mm-hmm. He did have the douche moment of screaming at cars, but that was the match that lit the fire for his political stuff going on. He's standing up for what he believes in a lot, which is noble, and what he believes in, I also kind of believe in, minus the Marnie being amazing and awesome.
But he's got feelings that he's admitted that his heart hasn't caught up with his brain, and it may never do it. But yeah,
I think that's a good place to put him. He's doing real well. I'm happy about where Ray's going. I like Ray a lot. And number 2 on this list is not a slight on him at all.
No. He's
doing well, and if it weren't for one introduction of a new character, he'd be my number 1.
Yeah. And I'll say this, the top 4 are fine.
Yeah. But I mean, taking the cake, how can you go wrong with Fran?
A man named Fran.
Just the most level-headed, sensible person in this show, I feel.
At this point, yeah. Yeah.
So far, loving Fran, but also loving Ray. I love Ray.
Yeah, but I don't have any negative marks at all on Fran right now. The only negative mark I'd say is giving in and actually going against his better judgment in dating Hannah.
Yeah,
but
I agree. But you know, the heart wants what the heart wants. You know. So those are the dude rankings. We are very on the same page with that one. We're simpatico.
Yeah. Look at that. We even said the same word.
I know, man. We're becoming more alike than we think.
Now, this is where we start fighting.
I think this is probably where we might start fighting. Okay, we're going worst to first.
All right.
I will start us off here.
Okay.
Worst, obviously. Not even a discussion. Taking the crown of the trash queen.
Yeah.
Mimi Rose.
Wow. Right? I agree 100%.
Shockingly, taking the crown that I've given to Jessa nonstop, stealing it away for being such a manipulative psychopath. Just an unfeeling, selfish, crazy person who uses people and pits them against each other just for her own amusement. I hate her. She sucks.
I just finished watching season 2 of Killing Eve, and I feel like Mimi Rose is scarier than the killers in that show. Mimi Rose is doing damage out there, man.
Yeah, I would not. What a toxic human being, but probably a dynamo in bed. Also, wears those 1950s pajamas like a maniac.
Nothing about Mimi Rose gives off sexuality to me.
Yeah, she's like an android.
I don't see it at all.
Yeah. Wait, we did see a scene of her and Adam having sex, and it was not sexy.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. Because they have sex, and then that's when she's like, oh, no, they were about to have sex. And then she's like, I can't have sex. I had an abortion or whatever. Just her flippant attitude.
Well, they were supposed to go running. She just said it. She just said, I can't. I had an abortion. I can't. It's things I can't do, like go running or have sex. We don't ever see them have sex. We see them in bed sleeping.
Okay, yeah, you're probably right. I might be misremembering. But yeah, just her flippant attitude about other people's feelings and just using them for her own amusement. The worst.
Yeah.
Trash queen, and by far, not even a close race.
Scary, man. She's a scary person. And she's not in this show a bunch. She's maybe 3 or 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah, and also her douche-tastic art thing.
Yeah. Oh man. Burn it. Yeah. Her and Ace, man.
Yeah, they deserve each other because they suck. All right. Number 4 for me, and this is going to surprise some people.
Ooh. I
have Marnie at number 4.
Marnie has taken the crown of worst before.
Yeah, she's tumbled down these likability rankings.
Well, I still kind of have Jessa at the bottom, but I would love to debate this.
My debate with this is I more so remember things that Marnie has done. Jessa's in it not very much. What she's doing is not good and manipulative as well. But Marnie is just stupid and selfish, and like it seems like she's purposely trying to hurt people's feelings.
Marnie?
Namely about like announcing the thing at Ray's campaign thing. Like I thought that was such a low blow of hijacking his moment to make it about you.
Mm-hmm.
And just sticking with Desi because Desi's just the worst person. I think the real debate is who's worse, Desi or Mimi Rose.
Well, no, I think what you have right now is I'm going to say Jessa's worse than Marnie, and here's my reason.
Let's hear this.
Marnie has an affair with Desi. That's her big strike. Like she's cheating with whatchamacallit.
With Desi and Clementine.
Clementine, yeah. So
she's
that's
home-wrecking.
that's her big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jessa's big thing is she set up Adam with Mimi Rose.
Specifically to get Ace and Mimi Rose away from each other because she wants Ace.
Yes. Also set them up and gave Hannah shit about it because she was like, oh, what are we doing? Supposed to just wait around for you to get back from Iowa?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So she set up Adam with Mimi Rose knowing that would both hurt Adam because Mimi Rose is crazy and that it would hurt Hannah, who's supposed to be one of her closest friends. Knowingly so, which we find out later is knowingly so. It's not like, and then she did it for selfish reasons. Not like she did it and she was like, whatever, I don't care that it happened. She did it forcefully.
I completely see where you're coming from with that.
I got another one for you.
Okay.
Got Adam arrested.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah. And the bright spot is she helped with the birth.
Yeah, what's Marnie's bright spot, though?
But her negatives aren't that bad. Her negatives are the affair with Desi, and then stealing spotlight at Ray's party and accepting a proposal. Like, those are her negatives this season. Like,
maybe it's just that I'm becoming more used to Jess's antics, that it's like not as shocking to me anymore that she's doing shitty things. That
so
it's kind
getting
of
Adam
normalized.
arrested is not.
Look, Adam. Okay. Here's the thing about Adam getting arrested. Adam didn't have to like fight the police officer. He could have just. Jessa could have gotten arrested.
You could put that anywhere, but it's Jessa's blame for that. Like Jessa's. Because Adam's not a person he's just going to walk away from someone that he's in AA and close to.
Yeah, but he could have just like bailed her out or something. Like he didn't have to
like just walked away.
No, bailed her out. What about when she gets arrested?
We're talking about Jessa anyway. Jessa peeing and then yelling at cops and blaming it on them is still bad. Like take Adam out of it. That whole situation was bad on her part. Also, in this season, she was having sex with a guy and wanting him to be God or something. With them.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The Narcotics Anonymous guy, or
at the
Alcoholics
AA thing.
Anonymous.
Yeah, I just feel like Marnie stealing the spotlight to announce her engagement at Ray's is bad, but it's just not as bad as setting someone up with Mimi Rose.
Here's my thing about that is I think that the things that Marnie is doing, the people that she's hurting, I care about more than the people that Jess is hurting. Ray.
Wait. Oh, so you don't care about Hannah or Adam?
Not really. Not that much. Not as much as Ray.
But like she's hurting. Like she's not hurting Ray on purpose.
But I also take into account that I think that her decision making is stupid.
Yeah, but that to me doesn't make her the worst. Like, everyone's decision making is dumb in all of this. I don't know. Setting someone up with a sociopath like Mimi Rose knowingly and just to get with Ace.
Look, I'm not denying you have a great argument for Jessa. That is a great argument for Jessa.
Jessa's stolen my last, and I think she redeems herself a little bit with the birth and like being there, and I think that's a okay roundabout for her. But the stuff she did throughout the season, to me, is worse than the stuff that Marnie did. So
can I tie them?
You can do whatever you want.
I'm going to tie them then, because you did lay out a very good argument about why Jessa sucks.
I did my pre-work. I did my pre-work on this one.
You did, and I think it's more, this is what it is for me, is I used to really like Marnie, and her fall from grace is like taking a toll on me, and that's what makes it seem much worse, is because she used to be good, and Jessa's always been bad, so it's kind of her just regular.
I don't think Marnie's ever been good, though.
But we used to like her. Like, didn't we used to like her?
I don't know if we really, really did. She was rated low like season 2 or 3.
I think that I rated her number 2 at a certain point.
I mean, that was probably when we were going episode by episode. But like through season arcs, not
But
so
I remember like thinking that she's not that bad of a character, and her tumbling down is just like really like, wow, you used to be good and you suck now. And Jessa's always sucked, so I'm just not as surprised by her sucking.
Marnie's been sucking for a while though. I just feel like Marnie's sucking in this is just like her making dumb decisions that affect her. Like, if Ray's not in love with her dating Desi doesn't really matter. And the Clementine thing is really douchey. But like, yeah.
I have them tied. I have them tied.
All right.
You brought a very good argument, Vance, and you convinced me to at least tie them.
All right.
Number 2, I got Hannah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because she's
not bad this season.
She's not bad. She did kind of try and manipulate Fran, and she fucked up that girl, and she's acting like a fucking idiot with Chloe. Is this the season where she does that?
Which one's Chloe?
Chloe's the student that she got with the piercing.
Yeah.
This is the season where she also...
I have the interactions with classmates and students as like her biggest flaws for this season, and then the Fran crashing the art show.
Yeah, I think the art show thing was the worst for me. I don't know. Is this the season where she does the call out of everyone in her class in Iowa?
Mm-hmm.
That was awful too.
Yep. Yeah.
That was a real douche moment.
And then she fingered that cake.
Yeah, that was just disgusting. You should never do that.
No.
You should know that as an adult, never to do that.
Yeah.
And also a lot of horrible outfits. A lot of bad outfits. She brought back that fucking lizard toy shirt.
It's great.
And she was like, "This is a good first date outfit, right?"
I wish she would have worn it. I wish she would have worn it.
I'm so glad that Elijah called her out and be like, "No, you should fucking throw that shit away." But she has some bright spots in this.
I mean, there's some of the best acting I feel like she's done in the series than this. Like,
yeah, she's making progress. She's dealing with, this tumultuous stuff with her family, kind of maturely, and trying to just like figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And like being as mature as she can be about it, I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like Elijah's like, yeah, he wants to fucking get railed by these people. And she's like, will you please just, I have a lot to think about. Like, this is so new. And could we not just talk about that?
And she changed her career and like it's working somehow.
Yeah. And like, she's a good teacher. It seems like the people at that school seem to think that she's competent at her job. And it's good to see. I think that she took a lot of good steps this season.
Yeah. And number 1, I guess, is Shoshanna.
Yep.
And the only thing I have for her is the job interview trolling. And we've seen her on so many job interviews this season.
Yeah.
So many of her sitting across a desk from someone. That's like 90% of her role in the show.
And I think that's good and necessary for what she was primed to do. What she was primed to do, because she thought she was just going to take over the world, and it's not like that.
Yeah.
And she did need a little comeuppance, but she doesn't really...
She barely graduated.
Yeah. Like, that's her big negative, is like, Number one, the job interview that she just uses as practice, which isn't really that bad, but just how candid she was about like, oh no, I'm just using this as practice.
Yeah.
That's where she went astray.
Yeah, she could have just walked out of there and been like, oh, I would like to think about it and get back to you. And that's an email and be like, I'm sorry, I regret to inform you. You know.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
Could have done that, yeah. But
much easier.
But
much
that's
more
not
polite.
Shoshanna's style. She's going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Then trashing Scott initially at that job interview out of nowhere and just being like, blah. And then Scott kind of being like, oh, you're so intriguing. You just told me that I'm a terrible, stupid person and my dream is going to fail. Would you like to go out sometime?
Yeah. Those are her low points. And the other low point I had of hers was making Ray buy an expensive t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's
I feel like that was
no, but I'm like, that's what I'm saying. It's not a lot of negative stuff.
Yeah, the expensive t-shirt thing, like they were both on board with that, and then they both admitted they both admitted like this was a mistake, and it was kind of like. But she also pushed Ray towards the political thing. Mm-hmm. She to borrow a word from The Simpsons, she embiggened him into go run to start his political career, which I thought was big. She helped Ray with the political career in a big way. And now she's got a job in Tokyo and she's making like a smart decision for herself that isn't based on what a boy wants.
Yeah. And she was actually in a big relationship.
Yeah. And I like her relationship too with Scott.
Yeah. Was there someone else she was supposed to be dating or something? I remember there was that dumb guy for a minute.
Yeah, the dumb guy that she met up with in the library. But yeah, we only saw that happen once or twice at most.
And then we thought maybe she'd get with Ray or want to get Ray back, but then that didn't. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, that was also an emotionally mature thing where she was like, we shouldn't be together, but I really want to be friends with you because you're important in my life. And Ray being like, yeah, okay, we can do this. Little selfish that she's like, you can't date Marnie though, because that's my friend. She didn't
say you can't date Marnie. She was just upset that he has feelings for Marnie. Like anyone would normally be upset with some. It's one thing to not think they should be together, but you don't want to see them dating like one of your close friends necessarily.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah,
but
and it's also Marnie.
Yeah, dude, Marnie sucks. So I got her tied for second to last.
Yeah. And I will say this, overall, like these likability rankings, being last in this, unless you're Mimi Rose, isn't that bad.
I mean, Desi is pretty bad.
No, I'm saying in the girls.
In the girls, yeah.
But I'm saying like being last, like the top four, like, I mean, it's not like, oh my God, Jessa, Jessa does some terrible things, Marnie does some terrible things, but it's not anywhere near the past seasons.
Yeah, I mean, Mimi Rose far and away is the most unlikable person. Like, took that torch and sprinted with it. Usain bolting to the finish line.
No wonder she agreed to like do this role. Like, if you find out this is the role you get to play, how much fun is that? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Playing the heel, dude. Oh,
just like this manipulative sociopath, like that's like just the scene of her in the laundromat with Hannah being like, if you want him back, maybe I'll give him back to you. Like, it's so crazy.
And the whole scene of them at the dinner table being like, is this what jealousy is? Maybe I do want Ace back. Adam, come over here and talk. And Adam's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so good. Yeah.
And anything else to add before we wrap up the episode, Vance?
No, I mean, this is the end of season 4?
Yeah, we're 4 seasons in now.
Yeah, we got some surprises and stuff coming up for the next season and stuff. So stick around, guys.
And this is the thing is like, I don't think that there was a bad episode in this season. Like I really enjoyed this season.
Yeah.
Thought it was good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes. And so for everybody listening, once again, follow us on Instagram, Boys Watching Girls Podcast on Instagram. We have an email address if you want to send in emails, boyswatchinggirlspodcast@gmail.com. And once again, please do a positive review on Apple Podcasts if you have if it takes 2 seconds to just click the 5 stars, so please just do that. And if you got some extra time, would love if you gave a glowing written out review. That'd be awesome. So yeah, until next time, next episode is the start of season 5. I'm pumped. Vance is pumped. I know Vance is pumped.
Yeah. Do we do the tease? Do you have a tease? Do you have the title?
We do have a tease. So season 5 starts with an episode titled Wedding Day.
Oh man, our prediction of Desi not being Pharrell might be wrong, unless Hannah's marrying a Fran.
Unless it's Laird and Caroline.
Yeah.
Who could be getting married? Now I'm intrigued.
And that's what we're here for.
All right. Well, stay tuned for next time with the start of season 5 with the episode Wedding Day. Thank you for listening, everybody. See ya.
I know you're scared right now, but if there was ever a time to not be pathetic, it's now.
I think later is my time. That's when my time usually is later.